Testing 1, 2. Test, test. Hey, yeah. Test, test. 1, 2. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing red mic. Red mic. Testing blue mic. Testing podium. Cool.
All right, good afternoon. It's good to see everybody. It's an exciting day for Arizona football. I'm really excited to introduce you all to Coach Doege. We can't wait for him and his family to join us here in Tucson, Arizona. The process was really interesting. We talked to a lot of great football coaches, and at the end of the day, just our conversation, our time with Seth was really compelling. He's in the facility around our coaching staff. We talked football, we talked philosophy, we talked big picture, and fine details. And we were just incredibly impressed with his, how he thinks, his philosophy on just football, just what he did this year. His first year calling the offense at Marshall, winning the Sun Belt Championship and how special that is. And those are things that we want to do here, right? We want to be in competition for the Big 12. And we think bringing him here and getting him working with our players and being in this community is going to be incredibly impactful for what we want to do at University of Arizona.
Wait for the mic to come to you. We'll start with Justin on the right here. Oh, apologies. I'm getting out of order here. Coach, sorry about that.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Coach Brennan and Desiree for the opportunity. I'm extremely grateful. Me and my family, we're very excited to be here. There's something about this state that's I've always been drawn to, and that's me being genuine. Actually, when I told my dad last night that I was going to take this job, he reminded me and said, hey, you've always wanted to be there. And so I'm very excited to be here. I'm excited to meet the kids. I think there's a standard of play, a standard of offensive play. It's been that, obviously like people like Nick Foles have set the bar around here. So it's time to bring that back, and I'm very excited to do that. My brand of football, as you've seen, as you've researched, we ran the ball really efficiently last year. But I come from the air raid tree. Mike Leach was a big mentor of mine. So, when we installed this offense at USC 3 years ago, when we were at USC for 3 years under Graham Harrell, we led the league in passing 2 of the 3 years. And then, as my journey continued, I got to be around Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss at Ole Miss, where we led the SEC in rushing the year I was there. And then fast forward to kind of put my own flavor on it at Marshall. I think we've created a very flexible offense that you can do it, whether it be through the air or on the ground, and be very efficient and score a lot of points. So I'm excited to be back in the Big 12. Again, I'm really grateful for Coach Brennan and believing in me. And bear down. It's time to go make this thing right. So.
Did you hire for this job, and out of the interviews, what made Seth separate himself from the group?
So I talked to a handful of people for this job. We brought 3 on campus, and I think and they're all really good coaches, and they're all already successful and are going to do really cool things. It's going to be fun to watch their paths and how they continue to grow and develop in that role. But our time with Seth was just we turned on the film, we watched what they were doing. I think I was excited. He mentioned Coach Leach and Lane Kiffin and Clay Helton and some of the other people that he's been around, and I think that that was compelling. Just who raised him in this profession. I think that's one thing that I always think about when I'm hiring coaches is who did he come up under, and he learned from some of the best offensive minds in football, and I think that's really, really special.
Kind of going along those lines in terms of the interview process, how key was it for Seth to have the Texas background and come from that system as you guys are trying to make your way through the Big 12?
I think that's critical, and I think one thing that we haven't talked about yet is just you're talking about a guy who played high school football in the state of Texas, right? His dad was a high school football coach. He played at Texas Tech. You know what I mean? Like that part of it, that's going to be a critical recruiting area for us also. So when you combine that, his time in California, his time out west, where it's kind of these really important areas for us to recruit quarterbacks, right? But all positions, not just quarterbacks, all positions. For us, that was something that kind of also was really impactful in our decision.
Hey, for Seth, what appealed to you the most about this particular job, and how would you describe to fans what your offense is going to look like?
I think when I first showed up, I wanted to see if it was a fit for me. You know, being around the people and the staff, it was easy. I mean, it was an immediate vibe. I mean, Ben picked me up from the airport, and it was an immediate vibe with him. So from the moment that I stepped off the plane to the moment that I got home, it just felt right. Coach Brennan, obviously, I know who he is. You know, obviously, my time at USC, you know, we kept up with San Jose and what they were doing there. So I know his pedigree, and I know he knows how to win championships. So obviously, I want to be around a guy that I can continue to grow from. And so that was important to me as well. But I mean, it was immediate for me. And I think that's why it went so smooth in the interview process, is because the vibe within the coaching staff, the vibe with Coach Brennan, the vibe with the support guys, it was immediate, and it just felt right. And from an offensive standpoint, and let me tell you this too, having a real quarterback doesn't hurt either. I mean, Noah is a real dude, and so I'm excited about being able to have an opportunity to coach him. You know, I've already sent him a couple of text messages. We've texted up back and forth when I accepted the job. We're going to get on the phone tonight. He's priority number one for me, because obviously this offense is a lot better if Noah's is behind center. So from that standpoint, kind of goes back to, you know, what I've been around. Obviously, you know, air raid has been, you know, labeled to me just because of the guys I've coached under. You know, obviously a major mentor to me was Graham Harrell, and he installed the system that I run at USC. For over 3 years, we had a lot of success with it. We were able to run the ball pretty efficiently. Like I said, we led the league in passing 2 of the 3 years. Now, we had some real dudes at wideout. You know, we had Drake London, we had Michael Pittman, we had Amon-Ra St. Brown, you know, guys like T-Mac. So they were different. And so you were able to throw it and win games throwing it. And then going to Ole Miss, learning the tempo mechanics of that system and how to run the ball, very, very explosive run game. And then having some action shots down the field on top of that. You know, kind of put another layer to what I really wanted to do. And then going to Purdue and try to and kind of bring in what I learned at Ole Miss to Graham and him implementing it, and then going to Marshall on my own and throwing it all together. So to me, what you can get on this offense is a very efficient offense that's flexible. So it's flexible to your personnel. So if you got a quarterback like Noah, you can grip it and rip it. If you don't, well, now you can still win games and score points, which is the name of the game, still score points with a guy that maybe be a runner behind center. So you can be flexible to your personnel. It's still simple to learn, right? So the kids can play free in their minds and play fast and not have to worry about a whole different rules, or there's a million different plays in the game plan. They just go play free. And then there's a tempo aspect to it that allows you to, you know, equalize any deficiencies or any matchup problems that you have during the game, because you're playing fast and you can get people tired. And so in the third and fourth quarter, it's all equal. And now it comes down to like your program. So I'm excited about the personnel that we have. I mean, obviously you want to add stuff in the portal, but I'm really excited about that quarterback. And I think he makes this thing go.
Seth, looking at the numbers for last year with Marshall, there were a lot of players that were brought in from the portal. How were you able to put together an offense when you had so many new players along with some returning? How were you able to kind of mesh that in such a short turnaround?
Yeah, it was kind of special, and we had special kids there. So obviously I took the job, I want to say early December, immediately hit the road and started looking for wideouts, because I felt like that was the first need, and obviously quarterbacks. And so the sell there was, hey, I'm coming to bet on myself here. Come do it with me, and we'll do something special, which we did. And so through the recruiting process, I feel like I got really, really close to those kids, and they trusted me. And so being able to create a mentality, which I want to do here, mentality that there's an expectation to score, and there's a mentality that, you know, we're gonna play with violent intentions, which obviously is the name of the game still. It's still football. And there's this part of it, like, we're going to have fun because it's a game of football. We love this game. We grew up wanting to play this game when we were 6 years old, because our dad put a football in our arms and we wanted to go tackle him, and there's still that aspect to it. So, with me being a little bit younger, I still think I can relate to those guys and create that environment for them where, yeah, there's a standard, and that standard doesn't change for me. It doesn't change for Coach. It doesn't change for Noah. It doesn't change for anybody if you want to win football games. But at the end of the day, there's got to be some fun aspect to it. And that fun aspect to it comes with relationships. And so what I think we did a good job of at Marshall is putting that together is all of our coaches were bought in on those key philosophies and those key standards to where we were all speaking the same language. So therefore, a group of 40 different transfers comes in, and you have limited time to become a team. Well, we became very close in a very short time. And I think that's obviously, we had a lot of good coaches there, and like I said, a lot of good kids, and I think that was a major point of emphasis that Coach Huff wanted us to make. And because we worked at it, and because we became so close, it was almost like we'd been together for 3 years, and that allowed us to find ways to win games through circumstances or adversity when maybe you're down 17-0 at halftime, you still found a way to win it. Because those guys were close and they believed in what we were doing.
Justin on the right here in the front.
Hi, Seth. Welcome to Tucson.
Thanks.
So as a player, what are some of the things that you learned under Mike Leach?
Just what I was talking about, the biggest thing, right? To me, it's all about mentality over everything, right? And, when you think about, obviously this was set in place that we were going to do this press conference, so you're thinking about some of the questions you guys may ask, and I knew Mike Leach was going to get brought up, okay? So to me, Leach was, what he sold to everybody in his program was a mentality that it didn't matter the arena, it didn't matter the circumstances, it didn't matter where the ball was placed down, okay? All 11 guys on the field believed in what we were doing, and they all believed that they could be the best at doing their job. And that's why we scored points. Okay, he called the same plays over and over and over and over, and schematically sometimes did not fit. If it was a cover 4 beater or a man beater and you're calling it into cover 2, ideally not the greatest call. But why did it work? It worked because you had 11 people believing in it. There were built-in answers in the system that you could get to as a quarterback. And like I said, at the end of the day, it's all about mentality. We all expected to score every time we touched the football. And so I'll take that with me wherever I go. The first thing I'll talk about to the unit is there's got to be a mentality change. And that mentality change has to be, I don't care where the ball's placed. It could be placed in the gym. It could be a walkthrough. It could be raining. It could be snowing. It could be sun. It doesn't matter what the arena, doesn't matter the circumstance, doesn't matter the environment. All right? If the ball's placed down, we're going to score points, period. And I think that's what he created, and that's why I think he was so successful.
And then, Brent, assuming Noah's back, how excited are you to watch those two work together?
I'm really excited about that. I think that's, obviously we all know how much we love Noah and how important he is to this program. And when you combine his talent with who he is as a man, he's just such an impactful player in our program, at the university, in the city of Tucson. And I think it's going to be fun to watch them collaborate and watch them work together. I think that's something that, and I think Noah has some history playing some spread football too. So I think that's going to be fun to watch them kind of go back and forth and find the best way forward for us as an offense.
Welcome to Tucson, Coach. So with not only Noah, you guys talk about that, but how important is roster retention with the guys that have entered the portal already for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I've already made some calls on my way up here. Just trying to get in touch with some of the guys that are in the portal. Talked to Kean. He was actually committed to us at USC when I was a tight end coach there, so I actually have a previous relationship with him. And then called some other guys as well. So just trying to get in touch with those guys. I know they don't know me, and so I'm just trying to convince them, like, hey man, give me a chance. I think you'll really enjoy the type of brand and the type of environment that you'll be in offensively. And it'll be a change from what you've been a part of, right? And I think Coach has done a great job of creating, an environment where guys can be themselves. And I want them to be able to be themselves no matter if it's the team room or the offensive room or the quarterback room or the receiver room. It doesn't matter. Just come be yourself. And now like I said, there's still a standard of that you're going to be held accountable for. There's a standard of play that doesn't change for anybody. I'm going to say that a million times. But at the end of the day, I want you to have fun, and I want you to believe in what we do, and I think if you give me a chance, like, you'll really enjoy it and you won't regret it.
And then this is kind of for both of you guys. In terms of the offensive coaching staff, do you guys expect maybe any changes moving along, or is it just going to be the OC job, or is Seth going to have his own influence on the coaching staff?
Those conversations are going to begin, now that Seth is here and we've kind of made this step. It gives him a chance to spend a little bit of time with the offensive staff and get a feel for them and just how that might fit with him. And so those things will be beginning now.
Seth, Theron H. told me to ask about the real Coach Doege, which I guess would be your dad. What kind of influence did he have on you as a player, as a man, as a coach?
The biggest influence. I mean, this guy, I think I'm biased. Obviously, he's my dad, but he's the best coach I've ever been around. And I've been around, obviously, some major names. And he was a little small high school football coach, but the reason he was so, in my opinion, great at what he did, or elite at what he did, is because he cared about kids. And he mastered whatever fundamental needed to be mastered to teach and develop. And at the end of the day, win or lose, which he won a lot. He was a major success. I don't think he lost like 10 games, but he cared about kids, and that's what taught me. I feel like he indirectly taught me how to be a better coach just because of watching him exemplify what it means to actually be a coach.
So now that Seth is hired, how important is it moving forward as you guys navigate through the transfer portal?
Help me out with that.
Well, just like trying to recruit players, his involvement.
Oh, yeah, I think
and
it's
all
critical. But our efforts in recruiting the portal, aren't just starting now. That's been ongoing for weeks. You know what I mean? So we've been extremely aggressive in film evaluation and finding out everything we can about the people that we think would be a good fit for us here with our football family and also impactful on the field. And it's a crazy world out there, right? There's a lot going on.
And then when do you envision the other hires to be made or announced?
We're working through that right now. So it's obviously this was a big one for us in getting this done, but it was we also have we've had official visits every single day this week. And we've got a bunch of young people here and their families that some arrived this afternoon and some are pulling in right now. So it's good we got Seth here let's go to work and let's bring in some of the best football players we can.
Seth, what in your view makes for a successful quarterback? What are the traits that they have to have? How do they need to play for you to look at that guy and be like, that's what I want and that's what we need? Yeah, so the first thing I look at is he a winner? Is he a winner? Is he competitive? Can he control the locker room? A kid we had at Marshall last year, he was a dude when it came to that kind of stuff, complete leadership skills, knew how to win games, knew how to approach teammates through whether it be good or bad, and at the end of the day, refusing to lose. So that's the first thing I look at. The second thing is obviously, is he accurate, right? If we want to throw the football, it's great if somebody can throw it a long ways, but if it can't hit the target, then it's pointless in my opinion. Personally, I like to have a natural thrower. I would like to have a natural thrower that the ball spins tight. I think it's an easier catchable football, and I think it gets there out of his hands on time. I'm a big believer when it comes to footwork and drop mechanics that ties in, specific concepts and specific routes to be in rhythm on time and space and all that stuff matters in my opinion. And then lastly, is he athletic? Obviously in Coach Brennan talked about it, the D-line, today's game is so much better than it used to be, and there's so many different tricks that they have, whether it be games up front, different type of pressure packages and stuff like that. So
you got to have a guy that can process and get the ball out of his hands quickly and athletic enough to, if he needs to, break contain or find a way to get out of a bad situation and keep a play alive that he can extend. And that's where a lot of explosive plays happen. And so, like, just the top of my head, is he a winner? Is he competitive? Is he accurate? And can he extend a play? If I can get those three things done, I think I have a pretty unique quarterback.
Seth, as someone who's coached across a bunch of different conferences, what would you say the main differences are between them, and what are you trying to bring here?
Well, I think, looking at the SEC, obviously, I mean, it's a pretty, the speed of the SEC was huge for me that's the first thing I noticed, right? Everybody can really, really run. And then you get to the Big Ten, everybody's really big. Okay, so big and strong is the name of the game in the Big Ten, in my opinion. And then in the Big 12, to me, there's a little bit of both, right? Even when I played, you had to score points to win. If you look at it now, you guys want numbers, but if you can average 30 points a game, in my opinion, in the Big 12, you give yourself an opportunity to win. If you don't, it's going to be very difficult. So that's kind of the goal. If we can score 30 plus, we give ourselves a chance to win. If not, it's going to be tough, right? And so, and to me, the defenses are getting better in the Big 12, as opposed to when I played. There wasn't a whole lot of defense being played. That's why everybody was scoring a ton of points. But now everybody's gotten better in this league of playing defense, and it's a different league. You add different people, Central Florida. Obviously, Arizona State, there's different people in this league. TCU is a completely different animal now, opposed to where it was back in the day. And so, to me, it's a way more competitive league. And so, obviously, being at a place, I feel like I'm at a place that can go compete. And if I didn't feel that way, I don't know if I would be here, just because, obviously, that's something important to me. I want to be at a place that one, has the expectation to win, but also provides resources and is built to win a championship. And so, that was probably the funnest conversation I had with Coach Brennan and Desiree when I was on my interview is they expect to win. And so that really sold me. And that's something that kind of sold me at Marshall too, a tradition to win. I think here there's a tradition to win and there's an expectation to win. And so everybody's kind of pulling the rope in the same direction to do that.
Two questions for Brent. When you look at his playing career at Texas Tech, what's stood out to you?
Well, I do like the idea of having your play caller be a guy that played the quarterback position. I think playing that position just gives you a unique insight. I was a really crappy quarterback when I was a freshman and sophomore in high school or junior year. Then the coach was smart, and he said, we're going to put you outside. But I do think it gives you some unique perspective, right? He's been in those moments. He's had to, orchestrate and run a clock drive. He's had to be able to make those throws and understand timing and fits and space. Way different than somebody that played on the perimeter, right? Way different because he actually had to do it in real time. And so I'm excited about that part of it. I think, whatever decision Noah makes, if he chooses to stay, I think we'll be in an incredible place with Seth and him working together.
And then thoughts on Big Jonah and T-Mac declaring for the draft?
Those are two great Wildcats. I'm so happy for them. Obviously, whoever gets them is going to get two incredible players and two outstanding people. And I think that's something that's really, really cool. I think those guys, a year ago, they chose to stay and kind of play together. And even through the season not being what they wanted it to be, they still showed up and worked their tails off for each other, for this team, and for this university. And I think that just defines how special those people are.
One question for each. For Brent, are you at all disappointed or surprised at the number of players from Arizona who've entered the portal at this point? And do you feel like you might be able to get some of those guys to come back?
I think that remains to be seen. But I think, as I look at it, college football is way different than it was 5 years ago. I mean, shoot, it's way different than it was 5 months ago. And so everybody is doing this and navigating this for the first time. And as hard as that is for me to see those players do that, because there's history there, right? It might just be a year, but there's still a lot of ups and downs and, struggles and good moments with those people. And so those guys are great guys. I love those guys. And, you know, however it works out over the next few weeks, I understand it, and I'm optimistic that some of them will come back.
And for Seth, you alluded to having some sort of a connection to Arizona or something that pulled you here. What is that?
I think it was just a feel and a vibe, to be honest with you. I mean, we played here a couple times at USC, and then, you know, obviously visiting. There was something about this place I've always said that I wanted to be here. And so it's really exciting for me. You know, this is not a job for me that's just like, hey, let me go see if I can't score some points and see if I can't find the next one, right? This one to me is like, let's go win a championship here. Let's go do something special where we can stay at this place for a long haul. Like, to me, this is a special place. I wouldn't want to do it with any other head coach, to be honest with you. This guy reminds me of the people that I want to grow into and be like. If I ever get a head coaching opportunity one day, that I want to be like Coach Brennan. I think he kind of sets the standard for me. So he reminds me a lot of Coach Helton at USC. You know, I think there's a lot of similarities there, and so I just enjoyed coaching for Coach Helton. I think a lot of the players love playing for Coach Helton, and so I see this kind of being very similar. We're going to win a lot more games.